Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. Today is Thursday, April the 24th. This has been the longest April of my fucking life. I was talking to my son about this the other day. I was like, it has been April for about 3 years.
Did Trump passed his first 100 days the other day.
He did.
Yeah.
He did pass for his first 100 days. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
That's something. You know who didn't pass their freshness date was the Pope.
Well, he is now definitely past his best if poped by.
They put him in a fucking coffin, and the coffin is like, it's kind of at an angle, and he's sort of just like stuck in this like coffin, and all the like red-hatted dudes have to come around and be like, bro,
yep.
and then like move on.
Peace out.
Like, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a corpse.
So
that's what happens.
I gotta
to all
ask
of us.
you.
Yeah,
when Rush Limbaugh died, we played the funeral march of those guys dancing.
Yeah,
Does the Pope deserve the funeral march of those guys dancing?
Does the guy who heads up the largest child sex trafficking ring in the entire world? I think he does.
You think he deserves it?
I think he does.
It's a little bit of what we need is.
Yep, bring it in, buddy.
We need a little bit of
the Coffin Dance.
Oh, it's not Ambigonate, get big.
Featuring the Ghana pallbearers.
Here we go.
It's copywritten down. It's copywritten down.
All right, I don't want to watch him get undressed.
I love that this is the official music video.
It'll be a second. Here we go.
I was gonna say, don't fast forward it before the beat drops.
There you go, Popey. Tom, I want this so bad. You have to.
I got you.
You have to fly these people in.
I got you.
I want this so bad.
I got you.
God,
buddy.
I want this so bad.
Look, I don't know how I'm gonna do this since we both die fighting each other in bulldozers.
What I want is those guys to pick the bulldozers up and carry it like that.
Oh. Absolutely. This is
I want this so bad.
Copywritten.
All right, our video is now demonetized, so and all that money can go to those Ghana people.
Whatever, great, awesome.
Crushing it.
Yeah,
that was that. So long.
The fucking Pope.
To this Pope who was a liberal pedophile hider.
Yeah, right. I heard a lot of stuff. So like, all of my daily news stuff, obviously when the Pope dies, everything is Pope Central, right?
Yeah.
And like the consensus was pretty much that he tried to split the baby and he kind of just made everybody mad. He wasn't conservative enough for the conservative wing of the church. Yeah. And he wasn't progressive enough for the progressive wing of the church. And he just kind of he wasn't a true reformer. He was like reform-minded, but he was not a true reformer. He made gestures in the directions of progress, but he didn't make declarations toward progress. So he didn't actually make a lot of progress. And so now he's fucking dead.
Wow.
And now who knows what the fucking next guy is going to be? I'll tell you what he won't be. Relevant.
Yeah, well,
because the church is not.
Hold on, though.
That fucking
They were
relevant.
talking about possibly a black one.
A black pope?
Black pope, baby.
A black pope?
Or an Asian. So like
what?
The biggest areas of the world that are now Catholic
Africa and
are
South
not the Western countries where most Catholics would have come from.
Right.
Now most of those places are in Africa or in, Indonesia or, whatever that is, whatever that area is, like the South Pacific, Southeast Asia, that sort of thing. There's a ton of them out there. And so like those people are all really into the Catholic Church. And, the Catholic Church, to be honest, now the shitty stuff they do aside, the opportunities that they open up for some of those people to go learn abroad, to learn a different language, to learn skills and bring it back to their communities is a big deal to them.
Yeah.
Regardless of what we think of the church does at least create some of these people to go back and, be public servants in that area.
For sure.
So it's like, now they're probably going to be, playing 3-card money with some pedophile in a.
Look, there are always people on the ground that benefit when colonialism takes place.
Yeah.
Right. And this is just a kind of religious colonialism, like swooping in and playing missionary to the sort of like great unwashed masses of the yet untouched regions of the world is, obviously hyper xenophobic and, incredibly colonialist and paternalistic. And that is the churches across the world would always do that. They view parts of the world that have not yet been touched by Western culture or colonized exclusively by Western culture as like ripe fruit for the picking.
And ripe for changing all their views on exactly what they want. Yeah.
I have a theological question. I don't know if you know the answer.
I'm sure I do,
I'm
Tom.
curious.
I'm sure I know it.
Because Haley and I were talking about this the other day, and she said to me that she thinks that there's the deal with Christianity, as we were joking about it, because we were talking about Easter, right? And our kids, I actually had all 4 of the kids lined up, and I was like, hey, it occurs to me that we gave them little Easter baskets. Do any of you guys know what the fuck Easter's all about? Like the story of Easter? And I pointed to Aislinn, who I sent to Lutheran school for 2 years during the pandemic.
She didn't learn.
I was like, you don't get to answer. You don't get to answer. Because I know you know.
Okay.
And so she was like bummed. I'm like, do you guys even know what Easter's about? And Finn figured it out last year. Donovan figured it out from his last girlfriend, I think a couple of years ago. Eamon had no idea.
Sure.
Eamon's 10.
He's like,
he had no idea what
bunnies.
Easter was. He's like, it's about
bunnies.
He's like, it's a bunny related holiday, and of course Aislinn knew. And so we were talking, and Haley said, she thinks that there is a loophole in Christianity that if you've never heard of Christianity, you don't go to hell. That like Jesus dying for your sins, kind of all that stuff kind of doesn't count.
Yeah.
Is that true? Do you know if that's true?
So I think that is religion dependent. I think it's religion dependent because I'll tell you who doesn't believe that is the Jehovah's Witnesses, who think that only 144,000 people.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So clearly there are some sects of Christianity who think, fuck you.
Right.
Oh, you didn't hear about it? Oh, that sounds like a lot of your fucking problem, buddy.
Because here's what she pointed out, which I thought was really interesting. If there's a loophole that says I don't go to hell if I didn't hear about it, then actually being a missionary is a huge asshole move.
Yeah, because now you're making them go
Now
to
you're
hell.
making them choose something.
Yeah, you're like, especially a missionary for like Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
And I think what's going to happen now is we're going to get a bunch of messages from people who grew up religious, because there's a ton of people who listen to the show who grew up religious, and they're going to say, yeah, in my religion, it didn't matter if you knew or not. And other religions, the others would be like, no, if you never heard of it, it's fine.
Do you know what the Catholic stance on that happens to be? It's okay if you don't. I'm just curious.
As near, and I think it's varied in the Catholic Church, because from what I've heard, the Catholics, the ones that I've talked to about it, because I've brought up something similar before, and the Catholics that I talk to about it, they all suggest that that basically if you don't have a way to talk to God or be with God, then you kind of live without him, and then that also exists in the afterlife too. You're just like, that's it. Like you don't have it.
So just bad luck.
They're just like bad luck. Like that's up to you. Like, so some of them are like that. And others are like, no, if you don't know, then, it's okay. You can be a good person and God would still accept you. So then I think it really is that liberal and progressive sides of the church.
Because what an impossibly crazy religious tenet to hold, that if somebody never heard of this belief system, they are still beholden to that belief system by their deity. Yeah. Like I lived without God. So then God is like, well, I know I created you and I know you're a piece of me and I know I'm supposed to love you, but I created you in a place where you never heard about me. So for all of eternity, you will now be bereft of my presence.
Yeah,
what an asshole thing to do.
God is like the government when they're like, sorry, you can't be ignorant of the law.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I didn't know.
But I'm literally ignorant of it.
I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to have a buggy whip on Sundays or whatever. And like, too bad.
Like I spat on the sidewalk while riding on a donkey in a bathtub or whatever.
Sorry, man. No, that's jail. Right to jail. Right to jail.
It's like God is your dad that went out for cigarettes when you were 1 and you don't remember him at all. And he never came back, and you're in trouble because you don't love him. You didn't remember me on Father's Day. And it's
yeah.
What?
I don't even know who you are.
You weren't here, man. What do you want from me?
Children of the sun, see your time has just begun. Searching for your ways through adventures every day and night. With the condor in flight, with all your friends in tow, you search for the cities of love. Wishing for the cities of gold. Someday we will find the cities of gold.
Evil is being defeated by God, Marjorie Taylor Greene celebrates after Pope's death. Yes, God defeated the Pope at 88 years old. At 88 years old.
Was it long battle?
God was like, finally I got him.
Pope had a long battle with life. Okay, look, I don't believe in any of the stuff that these people believe in.
No, yeah, it's all fucking stupid.
God, I don't believe the Pope was divine. I don't believe that, Marjorie Taylor Greene has a soul. I don't believe in these things, right?
Right, yeah.
Very specifically, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
The last one
soul.
especially.
But
yeah.
I don't believe in it. But I know she does. And when I look at her, I think she's afraid. I think she's afraid because of all the exorcism stuff they do. And she's just like, I don't want, because if there was a demon, if a demon existed, wouldn't it be Marjorie Taylor Greene? Don't you think?
No. I don't think that a demon would bother. I think even a demon would be disgusted to be inside of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
The demon's like, no, sorry, man, no, I can't do it.
No,
I can't do it. I'm not gonna stoop so low.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go inhabit this cricket over here.
It's like I know I came from a place of eternal torment and suffering. I'd rather be there than inside of Marjorie Taylor Greene, which is literally what her ex-husband said.
Oh, God, she's doing burpees and demons are just shooting out of her. She's doing kip-up pull-ups. Demons are shooting across the room. Yeah, all this is just playing your base, right? It's playing your base.
That's all it is,
100%. To be like, because she knows that there isn't a lot of Catholics in her base. There's a bunch of evangelicals or Protestants or whatever. And to her, this is a win.
Yeah, yeah.
So she's going to be, but whatever. I don't care that who cares that she's disrespecting the Pope? Like, who gives a shit, right?
They're like, there's an evil lady talking about a bad guy, right? And I'm just like, okay.
I kind of want them just to go after each other. It's like enemy of my enemy. Like,
Same.
go get him.
Who cares?
Go get him.
I do think it's hilarious when somebody dies of what is clearly old age. He's 88 years old.
People are so old. These people are like as old as George Burns. And you're just like, dude, come on, man. Nobody won anything.
Well, they're just like, well, God made it happen. Well, okay, sure. Or like fucking the telomeres were exhausted, right? Like he's fucking 88 years old. That shit just gives out.
At a certain point.
Like there's like an assumption there, I think, that like, man, he would literally have lived forever like a vampire, like a vampope.
That I'll believe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. If there's a vampope, if there's a vampope and he's got a fucking picture of himself that gets older and he's still okay, you win. Yeah, it's fucking Dorian Pope. Dude, I'm fine.
I'm in, dude. Yeah, sign me the fuck
100%.
up.
But there's been nothing miraculous. He just died of old age.
Yeah. I am extremely willing to believe in magic. Somebody just has to show me one magic.
I just want a magic.
Just one magic.
Just a single magic. Give me one magic.
Like they keep not showing me any magic. Yeah. They keep showing me like, well, here's some holy water. You're like, that's feces water dripping off a pipe into a statue. It's something every time.
They open their mouths like baby birds and swallow that shit. It's amazing.
Frank, look! It's another attack! They're not human! They're humanoids! Humanoids!
The evil that lies within. Down in the fiery depths of the earth where nightmares begin.
Who can stop them? Earth core, I hope!
Humanoids! The evil that lies within.
Can Earth core stop this evil before it's too late?
Humanoids!
All right, this is from the New Republic. Abrego Garcia's wife forced to go into hiding thanks to Team Trump. This is disgusting.
This is grotesque, yeah.
So the Trump administration is going through great pains to do what all racists do, which is to paint people of color that they want to disparage as violent thugs and criminals. You see it every single time that like a white cop shoots some black kid. All that happens is like, not all that happens, but a lot of the news coverage, especially the right-wing news coverage, will focus on, you know, he got suspended from school in 8th grade, and here's a picture of him, you know, like watching a rap video or something like fucking white people are afraid of, or whatever stupid bullshit. It's whatever kind of character assassination they can perform in order to get the white base worked up, in order to say that brown guy was always bad. So it's okay that we didn't follow the law. It's okay that we violated their civil rights. It's okay that we, you know, didn't allow for due process. It's okay that we circumvented all of the systems that naturally safeguard each and every person residing in the United States of America, because we did it to a brown guy that had it coming.
Yeah.
The Trump administration's been doing that. And in doing that, they released documentation that contained his wife's the family home, family home address.
The documentation was a restraining order was never fulfilled, right? So the restraining order was written out, but then it was submitted, and then I guess it was like she said no, not to do it or something like that. It was basically, it never was fulfilled, but they had the paperwork. So the Trump administration decides to just release it, but then they don't redact her address. Well, she's currently the poster child for both sides' war on this, right? But she wants to get her husband back. A lot of I can't imagine anybody on the left not thinking that it's a good thing to get the person back. In fact, some people on the right are even talking about how, you know, removing due process and doing this stuff is bad. So there's a lot of people who are against him being sent away, but you also know that Trump has a sect of people that are crazy and that will do insane shit, like, I don't know, give pipe bombs away to like media personalities and stuff. So we know that there's a group of people that are kind of crazy. I mean, they're crazy enough to fucking go knock down the doors at the Capitol during January 6th.
Yeah,
so
man.
We know that there's a group of people out there that are unhinged that'll do some crazy shit. So she's worried now because they didn't redact her address, and this is the same place where she lives. So now people know where she lives. She has to go to a safe house now and live until all this stuff blows over, because and there's it. You could say it's incompetence, but I don't think it is.
No,
I think they always blame incompetence, like, oh, we didn't mean to. But they do shit to be mean too, right? Yeah. And I think one, it doesn't matter, but I think you always have to lean on the side that they're doing this as a punitive measure to try to stop her from doing this, to try to get her to think like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. These people have a lot more power than I shouldn't be fighting up against them.
I also think that, like, I think the two things are true at the same time, which sound like they are in opposition to one another, but I don't believe they are. I do think that there is a staggeringly high level of real incompetence within this administration. And I also think that this administration intentionally embraces incompetence and chaos as cover. Because if they know that if everybody just kind of blows it off as an error, as incompetence, as the sort of natural chaos of this administration, that they're not held accountable the same way that competent, mature, responsible administrations and professionals and would normally be. Yeah, it's part of that shotgun effect, but it's also this like weaponized incompetence of government. It's fucking wild to watch in action.
I hope she sues him, because
I do too.
Because I think, like, you know, you let that she's part of this media attack of the left or on the right now that is going after her. They're trying to, and if they publicize this sort of thing, I hope she sues everybody that publicized it in any way. I hope she sues them. Go after them, man.
And I know we talked about this before. I do think it bears a swift repeating that none of who this guy is and what he's done actually matters.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's important to note that is always a distraction. I literally do not care if he was a murdering rapist of children. He's still entitled to due process, because you don't know that he's a murdering rapist of children unless you go through the due process.
Yeah, you have to do the work.
Process.
You gotta do the work.
What you have is a suspicion. What you have is maybe even a preponderance of evidence. What you have is, you know, a lot of things. But until you move through that process, you haven't established anything. Yeah. You've established literally nothing. These processes are important to safeguard all of us, to make sure that the rule of law is what governs and not the fucking whims of a dictator.
Yeah.
Danger! Watch behind you. There's a stranger
This is from People. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to launch National Autism Registry. Data will be collected from pharmacy chains, lab tests, smartwatches, and more. And I read that and I thought, the fuck is my smartwatch going to tell somebody I'm autistic?
You might have to enter it in.
Yeah, maybe.
For some reason.
Maybe?
I don't know.
Question mark?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I've got an Apple Watch and I got a Garmin watch, and I don't think either of them have like an autism setting on them. Like,
no. I don't think that there's anything. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what kind of information they can glean, but what they're trying to get is they're saying that what they want to do is use this as data when they do this sort of meta study that they're planning. And the meta study that RFK is planning is he has already decided before any pen hits anything that the reason why autism is rising isn't because we're better at recognizing it, which is probably why it's rising.
Sure.
Instead, he throws that out and said that's not the reason. It's an environmental factor. So he knows for sure already before he starts any study whatsoever with his new position,
right,
that it's going to be environmental. So what he's going to do is he's going to have a bunch of people, a bunch of data scientists go through a ton of different data, and then he's going to have an answer. He already has it. Like, unlike other studies where you don't know what your conclusion is and don't know when you'll finish it, he both knows what his conclusion is, that it's going to be environmental,
right,
and he is going to finish this study by September. So he knows both of those things.
That's insane.
And he's going to present, I am willing to bet anybody that it's vaccines. I am willing to bet anybody right now, a crisp $100 bill, that his environmental factor that he's going to pull out of thin air is going to be vaccines.
Yeah.
And so he's got a plan already to do this. And in order to do that, he's going to collect this data. Well, there's a couple of things that are disturbing about this. One is you should be a person who gets to submit data when you want to submit data.
Oh, really?
Not just, somebody just randomly takes your data, but then also a lot of people are worried that this might create what might amount to an autism registry.
Yeah.
Where there would just know the names of people with autism. And I don't have to remind people of fascist regimes in the past of doing bad things to people they thought were less than.
Yeah.
And some of those people happen to be, in other ways differently abled.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, I'm not adding those things together, but I'm not saying that they don't want to have that information. So they could disenfranchise those people in some way.
In some way, yeah. I mean, people with disabilities have been put on fucking trains. That is a fucking true fact about the world. And maybe we don't want the United States government to make a registry of its undesirables, right? This is not good. And like, I don't think people with autism are undesirable, but I fucking guarantee Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does.
That's how he talks about it.
I mean, that's not, I'm not reaching.
He doesn't think he use the bathroom.
Yeah.
He
said
like
grotesque things about it.
He's like, they'll never play taxes. They'll never write a poem. They won't play baseball. They won't fall in love. They won't go to some of these people can't even use the bathroom on their own. They'll live their whole life in care, essentially. He doesn't know that
that it's a spectrum.
That it's a spectrum. It's also like there's like, I was looking into this. It's not like there's like one thing that autism is. It's a name for a collection of things.
Right.
It's not just like, like when we say like, I'm going to cure cancer, and they're like, yeah, but there's a million different types of cancer. And
right. It's not a meaningful thing
to say. It's the same thing. It's almost the same thing with autism in the sense that like, we're going to find the cause of autism. Be like, wait a minute. Yeah. It's just a collection of behaviors that we call this thing. And so, yeah, it's just what they want to do is, what they started out to do, which is why he was even put office, is so that they could say vaccines are harmful. Trump wanted to do that since the beginning. That's why he put him in there. He put him in there so everybody in the world can hear the head of HHS say vaccines are harmful.
So here's what another thing to be afraid of here that I'm really nervous about. If he goes down that road by September, will these vaccines cease to even be available to those that want them?
No idea.
There will certainly be, there's already, I saw something today that I think in the Washington Post, it was in the Washington Post, that in 25 years, if we keep at this vaccination rate, millions of Americans will have gotten measles.
Sure.
Millions of people will get, and that's right now in a population that is largely vaccinated.
Yeah.
But if these vaccines not only are not required, but aren't even available, because genuinely, if we get to a point where the head of the HHS completes a meta study with non-willing participants, that's awesome, super cool, very chill, low, big, not a big government thing to do at all to just do that, but completes a meta study, arrives at a conclusion that was foregone and says these vaccines cause autism. Here's a causal link. Wouldn't the only responsible thing to do if you really had that data be to pull those products from the shelves?
Well, and then what does that do for global travel? Because suddenly, if I want to travel certain places in the world, I have to take a vaccine from here if I want to travel to a place that might have
yellow fever,
some sort of, yellow fever, or if I could get dengue, or I can get, I don't even know if there's a vaccine for that, but you know what I mean? Like one of those things. Like
I have people right now traveling to India. They have to get shots before they go to India.
Yeah. But what do you say to people who are coming to your country from the United States as somebody who is a nation that's vaccinated? Are now we on the watch list for their countries?
Yeah.
Where they're like, sorry, you're not able to, you can't come here until you get vaccinated, et cetera. Because I mean, like, think about that. Think about how that interacts. I mean, suddenly the dollar's going down, people aren't coming here, and now other people won't even let us go there because we're
going to have to get America vaccines.
Yeah.
And I would 100% get on an airplane and fly someplace to get vaccines.
Yeah.
Like I would be a vaccine tourist because I am a big believer in vaccines. I am a big believer in the radical notion that it is better to not be sick than to be sick.
Yeah.
I know. Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. I did go to high school biology, so I feel like that's a thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So we're just going to create an industry of people leaving this country to get the most basic medicines that are sometimes almost 100 years old.
That's insane.
This is from The Guardian. Fears grow that signal leaks make Pete Hegseth top espionage target. Experts say Pentagon chief has endangered secrets of U.S. Defense Department and given assistance to foreign spies. Super cool. And I read this article because you put it in the notes. I read this article and I thought, well, no duh. Like if I was the head of the Chinese intelligence agency, I would look at this administration and be like, that dude's a bad decision machine.
There is a weakest link here for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
This guy is fucking porous as a sponge. Are you kidding me?
He had his family on a different
signal chat. Like his wife and his lawyer.
And his lawyer and a couple other people. It's like, dude, do you have a friends and family plan?
For real, man?
You have to, they're included in this. Do they get Disney Plus too? What is happening?
It's bundled with Hulu.
Could you imagine somebody so incompetent? And it's insane to me that they defend this guy. What you should have done initially was just fire him. You should have been like, yeah, you know what? That was my mistake, and I'll find somebody else. There's another sycophant out there.
Oh, I know.
That'll fit the fucking bill for this guy. Why have him in there? And the reason why is Trump doesn't ever want to admit he ever made a mistake ever in his life. He's never made a mistake. And so what he'll do is he'll fight till the bitter end, even though you put what could be one of the most incompetent people in the country in this position. Somebody, and what did I say? I hadn't heard anybody talk about it at all, but I said the reason why he included all that shit in that text that he sent out to all the people on the Signal thread that was like Tulsi Gabbard and all those other people. The reason why he included that was because he wanted to swing dick and show people. He didn't have to include the actual shit in there. He didn't have to say it was an F-17 or whatever that flew out here. It was, here's these drone packages, here's this stuff. He included the jargon in there because he wanted to show how in control he was. He wanted to swing dick. He wanted to swing dick. He wanted to show how tough he was. Look what I'm doing. I'm the one who's facilitating this stuff.
Yeah.
That's why they're on the Signal chain too.
Yeah.
Right? You got the guy who doesn't believe he's been picked, and he can't stop talking about how important he is to all his friends and family. And that's why he's involved in this too. And that's the worst person I have in that position. You want somebody who understands the gravity of the things that they're doing. That's who you want in that position.
Yeah, man. Like he straight up copy pasted shit from the one Signal chat over into the other Signal chat. And it was just absolutely a fucking flex.
Yeah.
It was a fucking friends and family flex. That's what it was. Like, look what a big fucking deal I am. Won't you guys worship me next Thanksgiving?
You go to a barbecue and there's just like big printouts of those signals. Things like he's got one on the fridge with a magnet on it.
He's that guy like standing there with the fucking grill. He's like, hang on a minute, guys. It's CENTCOM. I gotta take this. Yeah, it's Central Command, guys. Hold on. Is everybody quiet? So I can take this call from Central Command. It's
Hello.
Pete Hegseth. How you doing?
Secretary Hegseth, can I help you?
I also think too, this is a little harder for Trump to back down on, because this was the big pony he backed when he was picking his cabinet.
This is the one that everybody said don't do.
Yeah.
They said
and this was the one that had the most, this was really the big political will test. And so there was a lot more pushback against Pete Hegseth than everybody else. It was the first big one with big pushback. And this was the one where he basically twisted every arm and broke every back and was like, I am flexing my will to get this guy. As soon as he gets this guy, he's backed him so hard. Now he can't back down because he's already flexed hard to get this done. So like, he's kind of fucking stuck.
Yeah.
He's stuck because he's a narcissist. Don't get me wrong. He's not stuck in a decent person way.
He's not stuck in any real way.
Right.
Because any real person would just say you're fired.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anybody who would accept that kind of incompetence from anyone who works for them. They're like, no. What are you kidding me?
My little pony, what will today's adventure be? My little pony, will there be exciting sights to see? Will you wander hither and yonder, letting your heart be your guide? My little pony, I'll be there right by your side. I'll be there right by your side.
CBS News, Hegseth orders makeup studio installed at the Pentagon. So originally, he wanted to put like a $40,000 makeup studio.
Is it soundproof too, so we can make calls from it like that one guy?
It's got a sit room or whatever.
One of those rooms.
Oh my God. Like one of those like super secure rooms.
Rooms, yeah.
It's got Get Smart doors. You know, he's got to like walk down a series of like
I hope it's like a pole you slide down, and it's like, you know how when Batman would slide down the pole, he'd change costume.
Yes.
I hope when Hegseth slides down, his face gets painted with makeup.
He gets
so
bronzed.
he gets bronzed real quick as he goes down. And then when he lands, he's right in front of the cameras and he can talk right away. It's just like, blah, here I am.
I love that like we're at a place where we are firing like the entire education department. We've laid off like the whole fucking CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. We're firing IRS agents so we collect less revenue from billionaires. But like, we want to make sure we give Pete Hegseth a goddamn glow up, right? We got to get his fucking glam squad on.
I think it's important that every member of the Secretary Cabinet has gender affirming care.
Yeah.
I think that's important. And I'm glad the Trump administration agrees.
Yeah, great. Fucking embrace it.
Everyone should have gender affirming care, even Pete Hegseth.
Jesus Christ.
And for him, that's bronzer and like,
fucking
and like they have to
tattoo in his fucking eyebrows or whatever they got to do.
They have to put a little concealer on his white supremacist tattoo on his
Jesus
chest.
fucking Christ. What a fucking narcissistic piece of shit asshole.
I love it. I love too how they were talking about all this fraud and abuse. They're like, oh, it's fraud and abuse. We're going to cut it. We're going to clean it. And they're just like, by the way, can I put this on my company card? Can I charge this? Is that okay?
So where's the expense button? I'm expensing this.
Super excited to be part of this, have this as my job so I can expense this beautiful makeup studio.
Go, Gadget, go! Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget.
CNN, that ends now. Judge overseeing Abrego Garcia case knocks Trump administration for repeated stonewalling. So the Trump administration was supposed to do substantive stuff to facilitate the return. If they weren't going to do substantive stuff to facilitate the return of Abrego Garcia, they were supposed to give at least substantive answers. And instead, they gave a bunch of boilerplate bullshit nothing answers. And the judge was like, this is boilerplate bullshit nothing.
Yeah. You guys are bad at your job.
Yeah.
Basically, every time they'd come in, they would be ill-equipped, unprepared, bad arguments, and she'd just be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? Why are you treating this like this? And like you suggest, that's a level of chaos that they bring to this, right? That sort of weaponized incompetence is necessary for them. And it makes it feel like that, there's this sort of constant low-level hum of chaos in the whole administration. And just look at, we can't tell, we don't know, because they came in and said it was a mistake that he got sent there, but then they said it wasn't, and then they said it was, and then they said it was, and they've been going back and forth on whether or not it even is. But even if it isn't, it's still bad, right? Even if he just got sent over, it's still bad. And the judge can't even find certain important pieces of this out. Like, let's figure out like the best way to get it. And I think that they're just doing this. They're sending in the Three Stooges and they're like accidentally poking the clerk in the eye. And they're like, they're like smacking each other in the head. And like,
they're walking through a giant pane of glass that guys are carrying down the street.
Yeah. So he crashes. They're chasing each other around the plaintiff table. And they're just like, yeah, these people are, they're not serious people. And I think too, I just really want to see the hammer start coming down. What I want to see is the hammer hit these people and hit these low-level people hard. Hit them real hard so no one's willing to do this work for him. Yeah, you're immune. Yeah, these really high-up people in your department are immune. But hit them so hard that there's nobody in the Attorney General's office who's willing to go down there and talk for them. Pam Bondi's got to go court to court.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
Same.
Is make her go do the work because no one's willing to do it. Everybody's like, no, man, they're putting the people in jail. No, man, I'm not doing that. I ain't doing that.
I got a law degree in a family.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Yep. Yeah, I don't disagree with that take at all. And I do think that there's a real problem, Cecil, when serious systems try to intake unserious people.
Yeah.
Serious systems, like we've built a whole series of systems that are built on kind of an assumption of orderliness and an assumption of like a respect for the system that you're engaging. And I think there's a real impossibility element that we haven't figured out when you send these like agents of unserious chaos into these orderly systems of serious people. The serious people don't seem to know how to respond to this. There's a flummoxing.
Yeah, and it's because the threat of all the things that you were planning to do was enough to keep everyone else in line.
Right.
That's totally enough for everybody else to be like, okay, no, I don't want to fuck with that person. Like, I will do what it takes. But we saw, even when Trump was out of office, we saw these people not respond to summonses. We saw this in the first one too. We should have known. I mean, you should have known. You should have known that this was going to happen. Everyone should have known that this was going to happen.
Here's the thing. There are no surprises here.
Yeah. Nobody should be surprised.
Nobody paying attention right now has been, I don't think there's been a place where if you've been paying attention, anything that's happened, you have an ability to be like, I didn't see that one coming. That wasn't on my bingo card. It's the Project 2025 bingo card.
It's all there.
Water. Earth. Fire. Air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
The Independent's Sarah Sanders begs her old boss Trump to reconsider after president rejects Arkansas's request for disaster relief funds. The Arkansas governor and former Trump White House press secretary's request for federal support was rejected.
Aw. That's it. That's terrible.
Man.
That's really tough. Here's the problem with conservatism. A lot of people like to think that they want to cut these things. They want to cut out these things or whatever. And they do want to cut them because what they don't want is for you to get it, right? You should never get this.
You're not deserving.
So they want to cut everything they can so that you don't get it. But every time they need it, they want it. Mm-hmm. And they get upset when they don't get it. right? And they also take advantage of everything that they possibly can that is government-based. They just don't want you to have any of it.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference. That's what conservatives want. Now, I would hope that the people on the left are like, yeah, everybody deserves to get this. Of the stuff that our tax dollars goes to, I'm ecstatic if my tax dollars are going to fix somebody's fucking home in Arkansas because like a fucking twister came through and threw a cow through their picture. Like, I'm like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fucking pay that dude.
Right.
Yeah, man. Fucking A. I'm ecstatic when my money goes to a tangible thing that is actually helping a human being, here in the States that needs our help. Fucking yes. That's what I want to see. And then as soon as he came in office, he's like, no, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
We're not doing it anymore. Like, I can't wait. I cannot wait for the first like real widespread disaster, hurricane, first real widespread, like, something big, wildfire, something big's going to hit. And it's going to be so big and it's going to be like massive to the point where that money, if that money doesn't come, these people are going to be fucked. And it's not just going to be a small group. It could be all of Florida.
Yeah.
Right. It could be hundreds of thousands of people in Florida. We saw it happen in North Carolina with all these people.
Yep.
And Trump believed the narrative that those people weren't getting money because that's what the Republicans pushed because they wanted it to seem like the Democrats were withholding that money or whatever, and they weren't actually getting that money. I mean, you'll hear it constantly working its way through the right-wing ecosystem that they say, oh, those people never got any money. And they want to keep that lie up because they wanted to get rid of it from the first. They wanted to get rid of it all together because they said it's corrupt. But it was never corrupt. And all those people needed that money.
They needed it, man.
They needed all these places. And it's going to be the ones that are going to suffer the worst are going to be the places that are the deep red places that just don't have the infrastructure to fix it.
Yeah, man. When you look at like the areas that are most affected by hurricanes most often, these are not fucking blue states, man. Yeah. These are not blue states. And Trump came out and was like, yeah, if there's a fucking problem in Oklahoma, let Oklahoma fix it. Mm-hmm. He is basically saying, let's stop federal disaster relief. Fuck that. Where's our break in our taxes, guys? As we think about, I want everybody to always think about this, and remind your conservative friends of this. As we continue to provide less and less services, tell me, have your taxes changed? Has your paycheck gotten any bigger? Check your last check, your last 2-week W-2 paycheck. Take a look at your paycheck and tell me if it's changed. Because if it hasn't changed, all we've gotten is nothing but less than.
And you paid the same amount for less.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, my fucking bank account did not get any fatter, and we are getting less services. Yeah. So as we continue to get less and less services, I want you guys to keep an eye on your paycheck. And if it does change, tell me if it's worth it.
Yeah.
Tell me if it's worth it when that hurricane comes and floods out tens of thousands of homes.
It's not going to change.
Yeah.
It's not going to change.
It's not going to change. I know it's not going to change.
That money's going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it isn't to you.
It ain't you.
It isn't to you.
It's never you, man. Because I'll tell you what, I'm 47. It's never been me.
It's been me once when George W. Bush gave me $300.
The New Republic, panicking Trump walks back his attacks on the Fed and China. Donald Trump seems to have finally realized he's sending the economy into a tailspin. Maybe this will be true tomorrow. Maybe it won't.
Maybe it will. Who knows?
Fucking this week, at one point, he's like, it can't come soon enough. We got to fire Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chief. And the markets fucking implode when they hear that, right? Because that's just like, hey, what we need is a grotesque level of instability within our economy. And we need to couple together the executive branch and the Fed.
Important note, Jerome Powell's term is up in 2 years.
Yeah.
So understand that there will be in Trump's presidency, unless something else happens, maybe he doesn't finish his presidency out for some reason. But let's just presume.
I don't believe, but I need a genuflex.
Let's just presume.
I have thoughts about this.
That he's going to finish his term. If he finishes his term, he will pick a new Fed chair.
I know, man.
And
well, he picked Jerome Powell.
I know, but like he had a person in the room who said, pick Jerome Powell.
Yeah, well, you know why he picked him? Just real quick, do you know why he picked him?
Because he pulled it out of his hat and it wasn't a practice?
You're very close. You're actually very close. He picked him because he thought he looked good. Literally looked good. His comment was, he looks like a guy straight out of Central Casting. He didn't pick the other person because he thought they were too short.
That's a reason.
I'm dead serious about this.
Yeah.
I am dead serious.
Sure.
That is how he picked Jerome Powell. He thought he looked the part of a Federal Reserve chief. Looked the part, Cecil. I've stunned you into silence. That's a true fact.
I will say that doesn't surprise me.
No.
You know what? You say that, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. That's pretty much that's pretty much what you voted for with 2025. Yeah. You pretty much voted for a visual-based system on who you choose for your Fed chair. Like, no, that's fine. What does he do anyway? He just makes money.
Yeah,
like, who cares?
Steve Buscemi's going to be our next Fed chair.
Oh God, I don't think so. I don't think so.
What's fucking insane to me is that Jerome Powell has actually done the impossible.
He did a good job.
He did more than a good job.
He did a great job.
He did the impossible. So, if you were following this, any of this stuff, like what the Fed was aiming for was what they called a soft landing. And the soft landing
from COVID.
Right.
From COVID. Like, think about this, guys. Before Tom finishes, the COVID, which was an absolute disaster around the globe, trashing markets, killing industries. It did all kinds of awful things. COVID was an absolute destroyer of markets.
Yep.
And the best we could do to get out of it, we had to give out a couple of stimulus checks. We had to do like some extra stuff to make sure that that people were able to, that couldn't even do like regular work, had the money to spend. It was insane. And then they wanted a soft landing from that.
They wanted a soft landing.
Because it was a disaster.
Because it was an enormous international economic disaster. And the Fed has a dual mandate. So the Fed's mandate is to keep unemployment low and to keep economic growth high, right? So that's their dual mandate. So those two things have to be sort of balanced all the time. And the soft landing was to grow the economy at a rate that also did not balloon out inflation.
Sure.
Inflation began to balloon out for a variety of reasons. They used the biggest tool in their toolbox, which is the interest rates. They raised interest rates. They brought them up. They brought them down.
Powell was on before this.
Right.
Powell was on before COVID existed.
Right.
Or was,
before
COVID popped. Before there was a pandemic.
And everybody said that there is almost no way that we are going to be able to avoid a recession. Everybody was like, the soft landing was like a myth. It was a dream. It was like something that was almost certain to not happen. And we pulled it off. We brought the inflation back down from fucking, 9% to somewhere around like 2.9, 3%, somewhere around there. Job growth remained strong. The economy continued to grow at a reasonable rate. The soft landing happened. Yeah. It was an impossible economic, historical